Because you're in a class that I paid for, is her excuse. But yet you can take a pee break. Lacey drinks water like a camel. Like an elephant. You're taking a pee break every hour, every 2 hours. You're not holding it for 5 hours. You could respond to a text on a pee break. Any break that any school in the world doesn't have a class that lasts 5 hours. They're going to give you a break about every hour. Maybe some schools it's an hour and a half, but about every hour to maybe 90 minutes you're going to get a break. Okay, class, take a break. Come back in 10 minutes. So you could respond if you wanted to. You just chose not to. So I didn't come in April on a really, really good note between us because she was disrespecting me. And by the way, the Good Friday never happened. I never got no time with her on Friday, never got no time Saturday, and never got no time Sunday. That thing just disappeared and went away. You make time in life for what's important to you. And if it's not important to you, you don't make time. Simple as that. I can't imagine her coming here and me treating her the same way. It would never happen. Nothing would be in the way. Because she would be my priority, you see. Nothing would get in the way. Everything else would take second, third, fourth tier. She would be a number one, but I'm never a number one with her. Anyway, Easter Monday comes around. Up, basically asking her about, hey, this invitation, because she invited me to come out to the farm thing in Anato Bay. And I had said to her, what good is it for me to come out there because I'm going to be by myself, wandering around? Are you working a booth? And she's like, something like that. And I went, what do you mean something like that? She's very ambiguous. She wouldn't give me straight answers. And I said, what the hell am I going to do? I'm going to walk around, back when Waylon was around, me and Waylon could walk around back in the Kingston Farm Queen thing. We could walk around together and just keep each other company. But I had nobody to bring with me. I wasn't going to, go by myself and then just get dissed. Because if you're working a booth, then we're just going to sit and talk at the booth? I don't know how this works. Anyway, by that Sunday night, I asked her where the venue was going to be, and she told me in Anato Bay. And she said, are you coming out? And I said, yeah, maybe. And I eventually did come out. And it was hard to track her down because she was playing this hide-and-seek shit, like, where you at? She's like, are you here? And I'm like, I asked you where you were. And she's like, oh, I'm kind of busy with such and such. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just walk around. So I walked around like an hour, like an idiot, until I tracked her down on my own. And then that's when I found out she was doing this little school thing, this little teacher thing, teaching these other girls. I didn't know that, you see. She never told me that. And I don't know why Jamaicans never give you the information that you need. With me, there's no such thing as TMI. Give me more information than I need so I can make decisions. But anyway, that being said, when we finally linked up, it was a bit awkward. We hugged each other up. And she's like, so what's up? And I'm like, I'm just kind of walking around, just, biding time. I don't know what to do. I've been here now for like an hour and a half, and there was nothing to do. I've walked around all the booths already. So a friend of mine and her daughter and the two cousins were out from Kingston. She said to me, why don't you go get them and bring them here? The kids would love it here. They got Bounce About, and they got, the pig chase thing, the grease pig thing, and blah, blah, blah. They have all these things for kids. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Oof, why didn't I think of that? So I drove out to Port Maria. I scooped up the four of them and drove back out to Anato Bay. And they had a blast. And we spent the whole day out there just having a good time. You know, like it was good. It turned out good that I went out there on Easter Monday. Didn't spend any time with Lacey. But eventually the end of the night came and they were starting up the Farm Queen thing. You know, they had the stage all set up and blah, blah, blah. So we were getting ready to leave. And one of the girls had to use the bathroom. So they had, you know, one little building where, well, it was a big building where the bathrooms were at and all that stuff. But it was like limited access. They had porta potties for everybody, the crowd and all that stuff. And this girl made her way through a little cut in the gate. And she made her way through there to go use the bathroom. And she was gone for a little bit longer than I was comfortable with, so I made my way through the gate and I went inside the building to go look for her. And there was Lacey sitting at a table, this long table with the other girls there. And I sat over next to her. In fact, I sat right behind her. And we chit-chatted, and she's like, you have a good time? Oh, they had a great time. And she says, so you're leaving now? I'm like, yeah, we're getting ready to leave. So she turned around. I'm sitting, her chair is right there, so her back of her head is to me, and I'm sitting in back of her. And she turned around and she put her hand on my neck and she's like, are you okay? And I said, yeah, I'm great. I'm great. Everything's good. And I thought that was the end of it. It turned out to be, you know, a good evening. After all. The week earlier, when I had got to Jamaica, because Lacey wasn't talking to me at the time, I reached out to Michael. And I told Michael all the stuff that had been going on from January into March, and how she was disrespecting me and all this stuff, and how it was fucking me up and all this stuff. And Michael was, you know, very empathetic toward my situation. So Michael said to me, you know, back in the day, the friend that I was talking about, Joe, would be like the referee between me and my wife when me and my wife weren't getting along. Then Joe would kind of sit in the middle and be the referee and kind of like, you know, pull us back together. And Joe did that a couple of times for us. I want to do that for you and Lacey. And I'm like, really? You think that'll work? He's like, yeah, it'll work. And I'm like, it's going to be hard. Lacey's a tough nut to crack. To try and get her to bring out any emotions or any type of real feelings or real, like the way I talk, no, that's not going to happen. You're not going to get her to open up. And Michael said he could do it. He said, no, I can get her open up. He said, I'm Jamaican, she's Jamaican, I know the way she thinks and all this stuff. So he was convinced he could get her to open up. So he said, how about Tuesday night? And I said, which is the next day after the Farm Queen thing, right? How about Tuesday night? And this is going back a week earlier. I said, yeah, okay, but, you know, she's going to have to agree to that. And I had forgotten about it. Honestly, I just forgot about it because, you know, like, in my mind, we kind of already made up when I was sitting behind her in the chair and I said I was good. In my mind, we had already made up. A couple of things that I want to say. Well, one thing in particular. I missed Lacey's birthday on purpose in March 12th. I missed her birthday on purpose because all the shit that I was going through in the turmoil. She knew that because she had told me previous that, you know, don't worry about getting me a present. And I'm like, well, duh. So she already knew when I was coming there in March, she wasn't getting anything. There was nothing in my suitcase that she wasn't getting no Sheen stuff. She wasn't getting no toys. She wasn't getting no medical stuff. She wasn't getting nothing from me. Nothing. Not even one little piece of lingerie was she getting from me. Nothing was in my suitcase for her. And nothing was. So I kind of feel like she had nothing to lose, right? By dashing me away and getting rid of me, she had nothing to lose. But she did have something to gain by making up with me. And so maybe that's why she was kind to me that night at the farm thing. So the next day, Tuesday, I'm at the beach. And I'm in Trelawney at the beach. And about 4 in the afternoon, I get a text from her. Hey, you want to go get something to eat? And I'm like, whoa, nice. back in, you know? Like, I was really excited, and I'm like, sure, you know, your pick. Where do you want to go? You know, you want to go to Sharky's? You want to go to this place, that place, or whatever? And she's like, yeah, I don't want to travel so far. Why don't we do Ocean's 11? I'm like, oh, Ocean's 11. Okay, yeah, we could do that. What time? I'm thinking around 6 o'clock. I'm like, oh, fuck, I got to get going. So I jump in my car because Trelawney to my doorstep is an hour drive. Then I still have to get showered and shaved and, you know, all ready for the dinner. And I'm excited about it. So eventually I get down to Ocean's 11, and I'm a little bit early, and she's saying that she's on her way, and she'll let me know when she reached and all this stuff, which she did. And then all of a sudden she said, we're inside. And I'm like, we're inside? Because I had forgotten about Michael. So I walked in, and there was her and Michael. So Michael lived up to his end of what he said he was going to do to be the referee, but she never told me that. She never told me, hey, the three of us are going to get together. Remember the whole Michael thing? Because I would have turned it down outright. If Michael had reached out to me and said, hey, Bobby, you still ready for Tuesday night? You know, then I would have turned him down because I didn't see the point. But he didn't reach out to me, and she didn't give me the heads up. So I was like, I was sideswiped. I was literally sideswiped by this whole event. So I'm like, okay. Little did I know that the whole dinner of all three of them and the drinks and all that stuff would be on my tab, right? They walked away at the end. That's the side note too. But they walked away at the end, and I picked up the bill. Anyway, we had dinner. We ordered dinner eventually, and then we started getting into the meat of the matter. And then Michael said, kind of started the conversation with, hey, he was asking a lot of questions, for her to answer, and then questions for me to answer, trying to get things going. And I remember one time in particular, he said to Lacey, did you ever see Bobby as a possible romantic endeavor from day one when you met him? And without even hesitating, she said no. Like, wow. Like, you knew that from the very beginning? From the day you met me, you knew there was no romantic endeavor with me? So basically, you just used me for 5 years? I mean, not that I said, like I said, I didn't want a romantic, but I was willing at that time when I met her, the first year or so, until she got with Kanai, I was willing to entertain that at one time. But she said no right away. I don't remember a lot of the conversation, but I do remember a lot of stuff that he would ask her, she never answered, because he could not open her up the way that I told him he couldn't. It wasn't good. It wasn't good. There was a lot of me opening up and a lot of her not opening up fully. Even at one point, Michael said to her, do you feel like you owe Bobby an apology? And she skirted around that answer, and she never answered it. She never answered it. And I actually stopped and I said, you know what? No, you don't have to go there. You don't have to go there. I felt bad for her. I don't know why, but I felt bad that Michael was kind of forcing an apology. But I wish hindsight's 20/20, and if I could go back, I would have Michael, tell her to apologize, because hello, I'm still waiting for that fucking apology 5 months later. The other thing that I remember very clearly was at one point I said to her point blank, I said, Lacey, you are a very, very selfish, self-centered, self-absorbed person that only cares about yourself and nobody else. And she's like, and Michael's like, easy, Bob. And I'm like, no, it's true. She's very, very selfish. It all matters about Lacey. If it's not about Lacey, it doesn't matter at all. Because Lacey only cares about Lacey. And she got up and left. Like, I thought, well, so what she did is she went downstairs to go use the bathroom. But she got up. She never even responded. She just got up and left. And Michael said to me, that was a little harsh. I'm like, no, it wasn't harsh. I put a mirror up. That's all I did. I just showed her her ass. Because that's how she is. And she doesn't like that mirror. She doesn't want to be shown her own fucking reflection of what she is. He said, yeah, a little harsh. But anyway, that being said, the dinner lasted a couple hours, and we kind of ended it. it was really weird situation because